My name is Michael Carter. And if someone had told me a few years ago that an ordinary letter would change my entire life, I would have just smiled and laughed. I lived in Chicago, worked as an architect, and believed my life had become completely predictable. Every day looked exactly the same. Work, my apartment, a cup of coffee on the way home, and the occasional meeting with friends. But one autumn evening, when I returned home, I found a strange envelope in my mailbox. There was no stamp and no return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper with only one sentence written on it. If you're reading this, we've already met. You just don't remember it. At first I thought it was some kind of joke, but at the bottom of the page was the address of a small coffee shop in downtown Chicago. The next day, curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to go. Sitting by the window was a young woman with dark hair. The moment she saw me, she smiled. "You came," she said, as if she had been expecting me for a long time. I sat down across from her and immediately asked if we knew each other. She smiled even wider. "Not yet, but we will." Then she stood up, left a few dollars on the table for her coffee, and walked away, leaving me completely confused. After that day, strange things began to happen. I kept running into her everywhere. At a bookstore where we reached for the same novel. On the subway, where she sat directly across from me. At a park near Lake Michigan, feeding seagulls. Even at a concert my friend had invited me to at the last minute. Her name was Emily Johnson, and every time we met, she acted as though she knew me much better than I knew her. Soon we started talking, walking through the city together, drinking coffee, and laughing about little things. I felt drawn to her in a way I couldn't explain. But at the same time, I knew she was hiding something important. One evening, we sat by the waterfront, watching the lights of Chicago reflect on the water. I couldn't stand the mystery any longer. "Okay," I said. "Enough secrets. What's really going on?" Emily stayed silent for several moments before pulling out her phone. Then she showed me a photograph. It was the two of us. We were hugging each other, smiling like we belonged together. At first, I thought it was edited, but then she showed me dozens more. Christmas celebrations, a trip to Boston, a rooftop dinner under the stars, a walk through the rain. In every picture we looked happy. In every picture we were in love. And yet, I couldn't remember a single moment. Shock washed over me. Then Emily finally told me the truth. We had met over a year earlier. What started as a chance encounter quickly turned into love. We built plans for the future together. We talked about buying a home and even discussed where I would propose to her. But a few months before our wedding, I was involved in a serious car accident. The doctors saved my life. However, because of the head injury, I lost a large portion of my memories. An entire year of my life disappeared, and with it, every memory of Emily. The hardest part wasn't realizing I had forgotten something. The hardest part was looking into the eyes of a woman who loved me with all her heart and knowing that, to me, she was almost a stranger. She waited. She never pressured me to remember. She never demanded that I bring back the past. She simply stayed nearby, hoping that one day I would understand who she had been to me. That night, I returned home completely shattered. As I searched through old boxes, I found a video camera I hadn't touched since before the accident. Curious, I turned it on. There was only one recording. I pressed play. The screen lit up, and suddenly I was looking at myself. The video had been recorded a few weeks before the crash. I stared directly into the camera. "If you're watching this," my past self said, "something must have gone wrong. Maybe you've forgotten a lot of things. But if Emily is still in your life, don't let her go. She's the best thing that has ever happened to us. Even if your memory forgets her, your heart will remember first." I watched the video again, and again, and again. For the first time since the accident, I realized how much I had truly lost. The next morning, I rushed to Emily's apartment. But I was too late. Her neighbor told me she had decided to move to New York and was already on her way to the train station. Without thinking, I ran. By the time I arrived, the train was preparing to leave. People hurried through the station. Announcements echoed through the air. I pushed through the crowd, searching desperately for her. Just seconds before departure, I jumped onto the train. I moved through one car after another until I finally saw her sitting by a window. She looked up, surprised. Breathless from running, I sat beside her. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I said, "I don't remember our past. I don't remember our first kiss, our trips together, or the moment I fell in love with you. But I know one thing. Over these past few weeks, I've fallen in love with you all over again. And if I once loved you enough to leave myself that video, then you must be everything I thought you were. I can't give us back our past, but I want to spend the rest of my life building our future." Tears filled her eyes. Then she smiled and took my hand. A year later, we stood beside Lake Michigan at our wedding. As the ceremony ended and the sun slowly disappeared beyond the horizon, I looked at Emily and thought about how strange life can be. People say true love only happens once. I was lucky enough to experience it twice. The first time, I fell in love with Emily with my heart. And the second time, I fell in love with her again, proving that even when memory fades, real love never does.